Good evening. I'll keep this short and sweet. So Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene made a statement today that I guess a couple years ago I would have said is crazy and ridiculous, and now in the aftermath of these different train crash events, derailments, and there's some kind of accident at a plant in Ohio, I think. I think with all of this and how the right has twisted this is to go after white people and stuff like that. We should look at this. She says that we need national divorce. We separate by red states and blue states and shrink the federal government. Everyone I talk to says this. From the sick and disgusting woke culture issues stuffed down our throats to Democrats, trade just America, last policies. I'm not going any further. Um, um, I think it's ridiculous. For one thing, you've got some very blue cities and some very red. Look at Austin, and you've got some very vice versa. You've got red. Well, mostly that's country, but I guess you could say there's red cities too somewhere. Someone could probably find that for me if they look at demographics and stuff. Look, America's too comp. One thing Republicans do, and I've learned as I've gotten older, it isn't just that Republicans lie. It's that the area they're harking back to is an era where society really wasn't very complicated. And the world has gotten much more complicated over my lifetime at least. You can't go back to that. You can't bring up the country. It's not possible. And you've got rural areas that recognize the need for these cities that they may not agree with the politics, they need them. But you're talking about civil war ultimately down the road. But if Trump got reelected, even out of all the crimes that he's been committing, even out of all the people that have come out and admitted to his lies and his crimes he's committed, if Trump was to get reelected, with all the knowledge coming out that Fox News lied about, they knew that he definitely was not elected president. It was not a thrown election. And Tucker Carlson's, I don't know why it sticks with me, his statement that Trump is a demonic influence. This kind of stuff, for me, if they reelect this man, Donald Trump, to office, I'll say definitely, because what you're really saying is we're at a point now that you hate Democrats or other people in this country so much you don't care. And I think that when we start getting into anti-science stuff, and we saw it during the pandemic, we get into this anti-science stuff put out by people like Paul Gosar and Mr. Green and other people. When you see this, it's just about homosexuality or xenophobia or anything like that. When you see this, you're watching the destruction of a country. And what's worse, I think that we're in more danger because we are divided as a country. And if you're so stupid, if you're so deplorable, if you're so ignorant that you vote for Trump again, with all these different disasters happening, then maybe you need to go over there and be somewhere else, away from me, because Republicans are not willing or incapable to hold Trump responsible for the mistakes he made, for the evil that he done, and if that's that's not what democracy is about. You got rich people, we can't stop that. But if you're saying that you're rich and you just don't care about the consequence of the people that you put in office, um, I think that's immoral. And it's immoral, and I think that's something that uh, I think that's something that is unforgivable. Thankfully, seeing Franklin Graham, other hate Christians, step away from Trump, the Bannon step away from Trump. I think Bannon was really my fear. when Trump was making those speeches and talking about workers and not calling people communists, that scared me because those speeches made a lot of sense. That's before he started attacking the press and attacking black women and all that. When he first started doing them speeches, I think he really had a big impact. And I think that Bannon not being in his, I think Bannon had a good idea of what rednecks lost. We talk Make America Great Again. He had an idea of jobs that you had. His granddaddy worked at, daddy worked at, 2-3 generations worked at. That he talked about the Dial, the phone company, a Bell, I think, and how even in the Great Depression, they didn't lay anybody off. And he talked about what that meant. So I think that he understood that the frustration amongst a lot of Caucasians that world of sustainability, that world of being comfortable, is kind of getting a little tighter. And for him to be gone from Trump's circle is a big deal, I think, as well. Pence saying things about it. I think that if something was to happen and he got reelected, I would definitely say if Trump got to the primaries, if Trump even was sitting up there at the primaries, which could happen, with all the people stepping away from him now, if he would make it to the primaries, Republicans gave him a chance, I'd say it's time to break up the country. Because I think a lot of Republicans know that Trump is not electable. And they know that Trump is not a candidate that can win. But if you don't care, it's like Hitler back in 44, 45. If you don't care, and you're just stoned out of your mind like Hitler in the bunker, then I don't want anything to do with you. And I think that mindset is more dangerous than all the Klan, all the Charlottevilles, all that stuff combined. This idea, this notion of a political electorate, a political public that is unwilling to recognize that their guy is bad for America, that their guy has done things that are so reprehensible, so dishonest, and those actions are non-negotiable. That person cannot be put back in the office of the White House. People knew that back in the day. People understood it back in the day. They're like, I might like you, but you might do something that's so bad that it actually hurts my power. So I can't stand behind you. It's not it's not a moral conversation. Not a moral conversation. This is a legitimacy conversation. People understood this back in the day. If you do certain things, I can't ride with you. I can't do that. And I think that's what it comes down to. I don't want the country to break up. We need each other. I think that if California left the country, it'd be horrible. California, the country would become a lot more right without California, no doubt. I think that I understand why, because they're really facing climate change. And for them, it's like a no-brainer, where the rest of the country's like, well, I don't know. And that frustration plus other things is like, let's do our own thing. I get that. I get where that comes from. That's reasonable. Whereas, well, leave it at that. Thanks for listening.